In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use the animated fire Photoshop action, which allows you to create a 1-second video loop containing multiple fire elements, all of them being animated, that you can place wherever you want in the scene. This is a sample image which has 4 distinct fire elements placed. It contains a background image, the fire elements, and the scene has a total timeline duration of 1 second. Now, in order to use the action, you will of course need to load the action. Loading the action in Photoshop is quite a simple process. From the Actions panel, we will go to make sure that the Action panel is open, so you can see it here. And in this panel, I will click here, Load Actions, select the animated fire Photoshop action, and click on Load. Now, the fire action is actually a folder in the Actions panel. It contains 3 actions that you can see here. This is the default one for Photoshop versions older than CC. This is the one we will be using because I'm using here CC 2017 Photoshop version, and this is another action which contains some 12 actually color presets that you can use on this action, or you can use it on your own photos, it doesn't matter. Now, as I said, our scene here contains a background image, which is basically a JPG image which has been opened in Photoshop. It has a background layer, and this is what our layers look like. There are 3 right now. I modified them a bit. After the action ran, so it is a folder, animated fire called. It contains a light effect, I will explain it a bit later, some color adjustments, and of course the animated fire effect. To use this action, I will first delete everything and keep only the background image. As I said, you can open a JPG file in Photoshop and you will have a background image, a background layer. Okay, before running the action, make sure that the image mode is set to RGB with 8 bits per channel, and the image size is roughly around 1000 pixels. It can be bigger, shouldn't be smaller. The fire elements are of a varying size. For this image, the fire elements will be a bit larger, but we will resize them. And make sure the resolution is set to 72 pixels per inch. Okay, this is a good size. Don't use something very large like 4000 pixels or something smaller like 300 or okay. So we checked this property. Gonna click on cancel and I will select the animated fire for CC and click on play. Okay, what it happens? The action prompts us to select a desired fire element. There are multiple file elements placed in appropriate folders. For example, we will go to file 12. Okay, and we have all the images containing the animated fire effect which will play in a loop. So in the desired folder, click on the first image, which is the one containing the multiple zeros, 00000. We have a check here, which cannot be modified image sequence, and click on open. Okay, now we have a structure containing multiple two layers and two adjustment layers. Our fire effect is placed on this layer. It's a bit bigger, as you can see. We will now resize and reposition this element. So go to edit, transform, scale. Let's set it to maybe 50%. And we can reposition it. I will place it here. Okay. Maybe something like this. Click the OK or Enter to commit the transform. Okay. If I click play on the timeline panel, if you don't have the timeline panel visible, you can make it visible from the window timeline. So if I click play, first it renders the frames and now it plays in a 1 second loop. Okay. As you can see, the fire element doesn't start exactly from the sword, it starts from his hand. And we will hide this part. I will click on stop. And I will select the animated fire folder. It has a white mask. This mask we can brush with a Photoshop default brush, the typical round one, maybe with a bit more hardness, using a black color. I will brush this mask in order to hide everything that is located inside this folder, including our animated fire effect. So if I brush here, I am hiding fire element. Okay, let's see if we click on play now. And we have something like this. Okay, we also have a blank layer called light effect, brush to add dynamic light. On this layer, we can select it and brush using a similar soft brush without any hardness. We can brush in an area which we want to be lit. Let's say something like this. Or maybe somewhere else. And of course click on play. Okay, let's say we want to add another fire effect to the same scene. Nothing to worry, we will run the animated Fire 4cc action one more time. Click on play and now select a different fire element. Yeah, maybe this one. Okay, the action is running. It has placed the flame. We will replace it. So I'm moving this layer and scale it. Okay. Clicking on play again, rendering. Okay, and this is what we have. So the action created a new folder containing this particular fire effect. It also has this blank layer that you can brush. You can brush if you want the previous light effect layer, it doesn't matter. So clicking on stop, selecting the light effect, and I will brush somewhere on let's say something like this. Now let's see what we have. As you can see, there is a light flicker on this animated light effect layer. The lightness of this layer is changing. There's an animated flicker effect on this layer because we want the light to be different as the flame is different. Okay, let's add another light effect. let's see what we have here. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You saw it. 13. Okay. So I select the first image in the sequence. Open. Okay. Go to Edit, Transform, Scale. And I will place it somewhere here. As you notice, it is partially covering the face. I will hide this part by going on the folder, the main folder containing our animated layer, and here I will brush to hide flames in this part. Let's click on play. And this is how the scene looks right now. You can add as many fire elements as you want. You may use a transform warp on the fire element to adjust the position and shape of the fire element for a specific area. So you may have an area which is curved, and you may want to place it over there. Let's see if I cancel it and move it. Let's say on this part. Okay. I will use a transform warp to adjust the position on the leg. Edit, transform, warp. To make it something more like this. I'll also brush the light effect layer to add a bit of light on this area. Now let's see what we have. Rendering the frames. Okay. And this is our effect right now. You may also use the adjustment layers provided, the curves, in order to add more intensity to the flames, or use the hue saturation adjustment to provide a custom saturation or lightness to the flames, or even to change the way the flames look. Okay, so basically this is how the action works. You also have the color presets that I recommend you do not forget because they provide some excellent results. I'm running the color presets action. The color options layer is generated. It's a group actually containing several other groups that you can enable. The color options 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So you may enable one of the desired presets. You also have some adjustments: brightness, contrast, color tint, and general saturation. Remember, you can also use this action, color presets action, which creates all these organized adjustment layers containing the color options. You can use it for your own photos. So you don't have to use it with the animated fire action. You can just open a simple photo in Photoshop and run the action, and you will have these color presets. So every time you modify something and click on play, Photoshop is rendering all the frames, and then it plays them in this case at 25 frames per second, with a total of 25 frames. And this means our scene lasts for 1 second. Okay, and this is the result. Okay, when you want to save the file, go to the file, export, save for web. We have GIF selected. The size, this is the size, 257, 56 colors. with all these settings, clicking on play. Looping options forever. And this is our results. We click save and select the file name we want to use. Ancient soldier. Okay, exporting, and this is it. Thank you very much for watching my tutorial.